All right. Good evening.
Find it.
The March 23rd, 2022 monthly meeting of the Dixon County School Board is now in session. For the record, I would like to recognize that all school board members are present, as well as Tanya Baker, Board Clerk, Scott Mullins, School Board Attorney, and Ms. Robinson, Division Superintendent. This time, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Their seats now. I think they their seats now.
Board members, we have an agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Mr. Hicks, we have one change. We would like to move the discussion of COVID pay leave for employees. We would like to move that to closed session, sir.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with that revision?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Excuse me, Dr. Lau? Second. Second, okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. None opposed. That brings us to public comment. Mr. Hackney, would you please read the guidelines for public comment?
A period of time for public comment will be designated on the meeting agenda during which the public may comment on issues related to public education. Dickinson County School Board believes that the citizens of the county should be heard and that this is an acceptable format for receiving public comment. After the public comment section of the meeting is closed, the public should not be allowed to participate in general board member discussions regarding agenda items. Public participation with the board members regarding agenda items can be disruptive, and the practice is prohibited by Robert's Rules of Order. It is the desire of the school board to treat each member of the public fairly and equally. Allowing one individual to participate while excluding others is unfair. The board may hold such public hearings as may be necessary to allow the public to more fully express their concerns, or the board may place the public comment section of any meeting at the end of the meeting to allow additional public comments. While we do not wish to restrict the free expression of opinion, we feel that certain restrictions may be necessary so that order and reasonable standards of decorum may be maintained. We ask that the following standards be adhered. The speaker will be recognized by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. Speakers will refrain from the use of vulgarity or profanity and will avoid negative or embarrassing comments directed towards specific children or students. Board members should not respond to issues presented by speakers unless clarification is necessary. Matters of concern raised under public comment will be referred to the proper official for investigation and future board consideration if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Hackney. Ms. Martin, will you please be our timekeeper? And first up for public comment, we'd like to recognize Kathy Music from BPE.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Music. I work for Virginia Professional Educators, and it is a joy to see smiling faces again. But I want to apologize. I was unable to be at the budget work session a few weeks ago, but I know you all are working hard and hope that you will continue to work hard to make take-home pay and all those things the best they can be for teachers. I know there's lots of puzzles to the pieces. You've got to get the state and the county on board, and if I can help in any way with that, I'll be glad to. But thank you for all you do, and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Music. Phyllis Mullins with DEA.
Good evening.
I have brought our UNISERV director, Ms. Vicky Kiss, who has been in Richmond these past few months with the General Assembly, and I wanted her to talk about what she experienced up there. The one thing I do want to mention is that for Read Across America, every pre-K through first grade child in Dickinson County received a book with a bookmark and things in it to promote reading. And that came through a BEA grant that was given to me. But Ms. Vicky Kiss.
Thank you. I am Vicky Kiss with the Virginia Education Association. I am the UNISERV director, which covers Dixon County and 10 other school districts in Southwest Virginia. But during the legislative session, I was brought up as a lobbyist for the Virginia Education Association. It was an interesting legislative session. As we all know, we do not have a budget yet, which of course hinders the localities in finalizing their budgets. But we was able to advocate for school systems and public education to help kill a lot of bills that were charter school related, which could possibly have taken away students from our school districts, which we do not want. But we was there to help advocate for increased pay for teachers, potential of bonuses that comes 100% funded from the ARP funds, to help for at-risk funding to help especially our small and rural schools, as well as school construction, which hopefully we can better our. Dixon County is really blessed to have really great schools, but I know that there's always improvement for the crumbling schools that we do have across Southwest Virginia. But as always, we're here to advocate for public education, and if there's any way that we can ever help you in decision makings or advocacy for public education, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin, would you check the list to see if there's anyone else? Okay. And Mr. Hicks, you may want to ask if we have any else.
Do we have anyone else who would like to speak public comment? Come right ahead.
My name's Connie Fuller. I'm a mother here of the county, and I want to address the bullying here in our county. I personally ran into some bullying here with my son, and
I'm sorry, could you speak a little bit closer into the microphone or just bend it over?
You can bend it down.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
I said I'd like to address the bullying here in our county, especially in our schools. It's bad when a child comes to you and tells you numerous times for months after months that they're being bullied. They've told their teachers. They do nothing about it other than say, don't tattle. Don't be a tattletale. Don't worry about it. Kids is going to be kids. It continues. Wednesday afternoon, I get a call from a guidance counselor. My son decides to take it upon himself to take bullying to the next stop. My son tries to commit suicide Wednesday at school. Why? Because of the bullying. Enough is enough. When's it going to stop? And it's just not the kids, it's the teachers, it's the bus drivers. When you get a bus driver that'll tell children to shut up or they're going to chop their heads off, is that really kind of a bus driver we need for our children? No, I don't think so. Is it going to take me taking my child out of school? If that's what it takes, then I will. And then what? I can't teach him what you all do. No, it's not what I want. But if I have to, I will. He's not the only child who's tried this, and we all know what I'm talking about. I'm not ready to sweep this under the cover, you all, and I won't. If my child's going to do this, other children will too. He's 10. Look at him. What if this was your child, or yours, or yours grandchildren? Would y'all like it? I don't think so. I don't like it. Back in 2019, was there no bullying that came through our school? Yes, there was. Did it stop? No. And I know it's an everyday battle. And it's going to continue to be an everyday battle. But what ticks me is when our teachers say, oh well, don't worry about it. Our principal, what does he say? Oh well, we'll just have a talk. I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. I won't put up with it. And I know you all wouldn't either, so I'm asking, please do something about this. Like I said, if it was y'all's child or y'all's grandchild that tried this, you all wouldn't like it either.
Ma'am, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I'm begging y'all, please, try better, try harder with the bullying.
We don't try to take their life,
We don't.
and that's what he tried to do, cause the bullying.
Look at him. He's an Army Row student.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, Mrs. Martin is sitting right behind you, and what I'd like to ask her to do is if you will go with her and she deals with these issues. First of all, I'm very sorry that you and your family are going through this, but Miss Martin can certainly, and she's a good contact person in our office, a compliance director, and if you can go to the hallway or somewhere private where you can speak and give her the information, then we will begin an investigation immediately.
Oh, I'll do that. And trust me, my son has done been put in counseling for this.
I'm sorry?
I said my son's done had to be put in counseling for this. So, yes, I'll be more than glad to talk
Okay.
with you.
And if you'll do that, and again, we're very sorry, I'm very sorry that you and your family, your son is going through this, but Miss Martin would be the person that will take the report, investigate the report, and then get back in touch and contact with you.
You have anyone else for public comment?
My name is Tiffany Carroll, and I have a student that is Katrina Hempfield that goes to Ridgeview High. I had to pull her out of school due to bullying. Back in October, she tried to commit suicide due to bullying. That is my daughter. So 17 days went by this past time that I put her in Creekside, that no contact from a school except for a dentist deal contacted me 2 to 3 times about her schooling. Mr. Owens, no Miss Martin, nobody from the school system but Dennis contacted me. Yesterday I learned that there was a New Start program that somebody could have told me about day one, and I would have been glad to put her in that. Found that out yesterday. Same day that I spoke to Dennis, which was yesterday, Miss Martin tells me that school system dropped my child out of school due to not being at school. And I already stated that I was not placing my child back in a system where there's no teachers. There's 10 teachers out because of sickness. There was students in the gym, there were students in the lunchroom. Students can't go to lunch due to this. So my daughter has a late lunch, starving by the time she comes home. If there's teachers missing, why isn't there a virtual day to do that, like a snow day? Instead of sending these kids to school and then there was students missing from classrooms and nobody knew where these kids were. There's cameras everywhere, but somehow, they're missing and you can't see them on the cameras because they're sneaky and hide from the cameras and go do God only knows what in the second floor bathroom. That's where the most trouble that I've heard is the second floor bathroom. My child, was told to kill herself in October, and she tried that. And so then we get a no contact order on a few people. That was just a piece of paper to these students. So they found ways to come near her, find ways to taunt her. That's a piece of paper. There should be something in place for if you have a no contact order that you break that, you should be suspended. That never happened. So my concern is I placed my daughter back into school today in the ISS room, but I don't know how her day went because I come to this meeting instead of being at home for her to come home and say, well, how was your day? How did it go? Did, so-and-so contact you? I'm here to voice my opinion for her and other students, just like that little 10-year-old boy that just walked out. What child should break a spork off at a school and threaten to kill themselves because they don't want to be a human punching bag? A 10-year-old child. That's nonsense. My 7-year-old daughter goes to elementary school, and there's a little girl there that was bullying her, but she was also being a bully too. My daughter was, and I know she was, but the school system makes it like my daughter's the victim and removed the other child to a different school where there's no other students but her or maybe a couple others in the classroom. Why does she have to get punished instead of finding out what the truth behind it was? Because I know my kids aren't perfect. They sure aren't perfect. But instead of removing one child away from millions of students and not getting the experience of being with other kids, they just remove her because they think she's the problem. It'll eventually, something else will happen, just like the 10-year-old little boy here recently. I don't want that to happen.
Again, if you will please give your name and your contact number to Mrs. Martin and let her begin the investigation. We certainly would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins, will you be the timekeeper, please, sir? Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Robert Carroll. That was my wife that was up here speaking. I wasn't going to speak this evening. I was going to let my wife take care of that. But I guess my question to you all is, and no offense to Miss Martin, I'm sure she's a fine lady. I'm sure all of you are fine people, God-fearing Christians, just like me and my wife are. But to the best of my knowledge, no one that sits before me today has a degree in law enforcement or investigating. Is that correct? That's what I thought. So, and I'm assuming that Miss Martin doesn't either. Now, that nice gentleman sitting in the corner of the room, he's been trained to do all the things that y'all have taken upon yourselves to try to solve. You have, 2 or 3 resource officers that are here every single day? And I've spoken to the sheriff personally myself. I called him myself. And he told me that their hands are tied, that gentleman sitting right back there who has spent his life serving us, that each and every one of you would call if something happened outside of this school, can't do anything inside of this school because the sheriff's department's hands are tied. So why is that? Why are we not letting trained professionals do their jobs? I don't try to teach my children. I'm not a teacher. I send them to you all. So what can we do about changing that? You are all just normal folks, just like everybody sitting in this room. You have a job. I have a job. I'm very good at my job. I'm sure you all are very good at your job. That gentleman right there is very good at his job. So why not let him do his job? If you was to get harassed outside of here, who would you call? You would call the boys in blue, right? So why is it when my child gets harassed here, a guy who's trained for this every single day of his life can't do anything about it, but it's up to you all and the teachers who have no training in such fields. We're trying to stop the bullying, but we can't do it without the help of professionals that know what they're doing. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
The incident earlier, I am Marcella Bogle. That was both my sisters and my nephew. It is bad when I get a phone call, my nephew screaming and squalling that he has tried to take his own life because of bullying. I was bullied when I was in school. It was not an easy take. My nephew is only 10. There's no need for no child, under no circumstance, no age, no nothing, that should have to go through what he has went through. Like my sister said previously, yes, this isn't the first time that he has been bullied. He has been bullied months and on months. And it's bad when I see my nephew hurt as bad as he does. There has been so much bullying, just not in Dickinson County. It's all counties around us. Tazewell County, Smith County, Buchanan County. Is it going to take most of these underage kids taking their own life before this does stop? I know numerous of kids, younger than my nephew, some older, that has already taken their life because of the bullying. I'm not one to hold a grudge. I'm not one to lose my temper. My nephew is my world. I lost my son almost 6 years ago. He had got bullied through school. What did he do? He retaliated. When he retaliated, what happened? He got in trouble. Same as my nephew, 10 years old, terrified to death to go to school. He does not like school at all because of the bullying. And when he gets to his point and he retaliates on one of these kids, what's going to happen? His mom's going to be getting a phone call to come and get him from school because he's beat one of these kids that has bullied him to the point, like I said, he's already tried taking his life. And like I said, what's going to happen when he does retaliate on one of these kids? They're going to send him home. He's going to get suspended. What's going to happen to the kid that's been bullying him? Nothing. The bullying needs to come to an end very soon before y'all see more kids on the TV, on Facebook, on the news that has literally taken their life because of the bullying. I stand behind my sister and my nephew 100%. I will fight the battle with them. I will go under any circumstance that's got to be taken for it to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make public comment? If not, we will move on to our next agenda item, which will be the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes, approval of monthly bills, discussion of school activity funds, approval of field trips, approval of elementary school construction invoices, and the approval of bank reconciliation documents. Any questions or discussions on the consent agenda? I move we approve. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. 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 Okay. Our next agenda item is information for the school board. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. As you look at information for the board, you see a listing of virtual conferences and seminars. I do want to call your attention to the April Hot Topic Conference. Again, if you're interested in attending any of these, please let Tanya Baker know, and she will be more than happy to register you and get you settled for that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Ms. Robinson, will you please tell us about good news from our schools?
Thank you. Mr. Hicks and board members, I'm certain that I have missed some accolade for some of our players, but I wanted to mention to you that we've had basketball students to place in the Mountain 7 and Region 2D girls basketball superlatives. Player of the Year in Mountain 7 is Haley Sutherland. Region 2D Player of the Year is Haley Sutherland. Mountain 7 Coach of the Year, Mr. Donnie Frazier. Mountain 7 First Team, we have 2 students there, Haley Sutherland and Brooklyn Frazier. Mountain 7 Second Team, Braylon Stout and Christy Hill. And then Mountain 7 Honorable Mention, Maggie Grant. As I said, if I have missed anyone or if I've missed an accolade, then we will certainly get those in our April meeting. Skills USA District winners, Ridgeview High School Cosmetology received second place win at the Skills USA District competition. That is where several school divisions compete, and congratulations to our basketball superlatives and also our Skills USA District winners. Scholastic Bowl, if you remember, we had our Scholastic Bowl team here in December and recognized them. And so we have also winners there. All Region 2D second team, Landon Couch and David Farmer. And then Mountain 7 all-district team, David Farmer. So a very special congratulations and commendations for all of our students that are recognized today and their parents and families. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I can do the next part, I can do Ms. Martin's part. You have in your packet the attendance summary for February 2022. You see that for February 21-22, our attendance has increased 1,963. This is pre-K, post, and enroll students. And then you also see what our enrollment was in January of 2021-22. Also, you will see the attendance percentages, and we hope now that we are hopefully through with COVID, we will see the percent attendance increase for each of our schools. They're working very hard with that. I like to report along the same subject that this is our 4th day in a row that we've had 0 cases reported in Dickson County Public Schools. And so that's great news, and I can't remember the last time. It must be sometime in March of 2020 when that's occurred. You also see the withdrawals and the new enrollments. And along with that, Mrs. Martin has also added the entry and withdrawals for each of our students for the month of February. She has an enrollment tally by gender for each school and each grade level. There is an attendance percentage comparison, and then also enrollment by gender of pre-K at each of our schools. At Clintwood Elementary School, we have 35 pre-K students. At Irvington Elementary School, there are 22 pre-K students, and at Sand Lake, there are 26. Mr. Chair and board members, any questions or regarding the report, the attendance report? Thank you.
Okay. That brings us up to our next agenda item is the update on the new elementary school. From Mr. Birch.
Good evening. Got a pretty good update, I think, for the school. We finally have a roof on the building, the whole building. The detailing has not been done yet as far as cap flashing and things, but the detailing, the roofing, the school is covered by roofing now. The outside, the brick is almost complete, a little bit left between the buildings. Next week, they will start putting in the window frames and the glass and openings. They'll be measuring for the metal panels in about 2 weeks to get them here. The interior is moving along very well, in my opinion. The drywall is continuing to be hung throughout, mainly the first floor, mechanical rooms, kitchen, classrooms. It's really changing the shape down there really fast. The electricians are continuing to rough in. The HVAC guys are installing VAV boxes and running piping. There's just a multitude of things. I bet there's 15 or 20 drywall and framing people on site right now doing all those different parts of framing and drywall and finishing and all that type of work. Like I said, it's moving along very well. Next week, they're supposed to be back and start maybe putting curb and gutter in for the parking lot and try to get stone down and a base coat done. So that will make it look a lot different as well. It's just, I think it's moving along very well. I've stressed with the contractor that you don't have an option, you have to be done. And they feel like that they can do that. They met with their contractors last week or week before last and discussed their schedule. He's working on updating that for me now, so I know where they're supposed to be and when. But anyway, I think things are going well. Real pleased. We're continuing to monitor, the quality, approving the invoices and all the stuff that we do. So anyway, let's go to see some pictures here. I did a little different this time. I didn't go from the roof. I kind of went around the building. What you're seeing here on this first one is the bus entrance. You can see there to the right where the little loader's at. That's the kitchen, the cafeteria area. You can see the brick off to the right there. Most all of this is going to be covered with glass or metal panels. All what you see is black. So that will be coming along pretty soon. Next. This is out back along the mountainside. This is the office area. Where you see that metal stud framing, that's going to be like, it's a ceramic tile that looks like the precast on the high school. So it'll be a band at the top, a band at the bottom there. See the brick below, and then in between there is going to be metal panels. Next. This is along the back side, the east side. As you can see, they've got all the brick laid, the gym there on this side. So they're supposed to start cleaning tomorrow, and hopefully they're supposed to have the brick cleaned by Monday. That's been laid. Next. This is the main entrance here from the main entrance. You can see the entrance kind of shaping up there. Again, you can see the metal stud framing. It's going to be that ceramic tile that looks like the precast. Metal panel is going to be covering all that plywood up there. So it'll start really taking shape in probably by next meeting, you'll be able to see some of all of it on the building as I'm hoping. Next. Here's in between the buildings. There's not much brick left on this side. They have to lay a band along the bottom there and bring it up to the first floor. And then pretty much the brick will be laid on the building. Next. This is another shot of in between the buildings going east and west. As you can see, the brick is up so high, and then there's some angle iron there that'll be the precast, the metal panels, and then up again at the top it'll be precast. Next. This is the end that we're adding the classrooms on. Hopefully, y'all approve all that tonight. As soon as we get that set up, we will be moving forward with getting this up to grade, get the footers and the ICF walls up. There was no need to brick this up because we're going to cover it up. So we're hoping that by the time school starts that this part will be up as well as the room on the back as far as outside so that we can limit some traffic on the back side where the kitchen, where all the deliveries are coming from. Next, this is inside the media center. The media center is here in the foreground, and you see the stud wall there. On the other side of that wall is where the art room is going to be. Next. This is looking from the gym onto the stage. So that'll be the stage. Next. Kitchen here, you see the kitchen hood in place. Drywall is pretty much finished in here. They will be, and actually they started priming walls this week in some of the mechanical rooms. They will continue on to do a block filler on all the CMU walls. And we can start seeing some finishes go in. Next, here's a classroom. This classroom now has already been finished and ready for paint and primer. So a lot of the classrooms on the first floor look like this or a little bit further along finished. Next. All right, that's all of them. Any questions?
Looks like a lot of people have been very busy, Mr. Burge.
Yes, it's, I think, like I said, there's probably 50, 75 people out there now working.
Yeah.
When the Masons are here and everybody.
And I really appreciate that you said, hey, you don't have a choice but to be done.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. All right, thank y'all.
All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the comprehensive agreement, the elementary school wing, and Mr. Ellsworth.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to be back with you today. I'm kind of going to follow on the Tim's presentation and talk about the other exciting project, which is the classroom wing addition to the elementary school. You can go ahead and flip. I guess I'll start out with, just how blessed you all are to receive ESSER funding for this project several months ago. And part of our challenge was, how can we best utilize those funds and build, as many classrooms as we could and stay within that budget. And tonight we're coming to you with good news to say we've done it. And we've also done it at no cost to the county. So, next. So a little background, as you recall, the board approved the interim agreement with Questenberry's back in December, and that was to proceed with the design of the classroom wing addition. Since then, we've been reviewing design, and they have actually bid the project out and got pricing back from trade contractors, and actually presented us with a guaranteed maximum price. And if you recall, back in the interim agreement stage, we had a contract cost limit. We said, you got to build that addition at a not-to-exceed cost of $4,857,000, all in, design and construction. The good news is pricing came back favorable, and we're actually about $700,000 under budget. And so they presented us a guaranteed maximum price and a schedule and said they could do it for $4,134,500. and they are ready to get started in April and move that project forward in construction. Of course, there's more than just design and construction. There's furniture, there's testing, inspection, there's technology. We've been able to firm up our pricing for all those items as well, so we've been able to do all that and stay within the threshold of that ESSER funding. So that's some good news. Here's kind of what that looks like in terms of the additions. What's in yellow or looks kind of like green a little bit are the additions. This is the first floor. And so as Tim showed, we've got that one wall on the end of the building over here where that addition goes. There's actually going to be 2 classrooms and a collaboration room on the first floor, and then the same will be on the top floor with 2 classrooms, a collaboration room, and actually an extra office space on the second floor. And then off to the other side by the admin area, kind of behind it, is what we're calling a multi-purpose room, which can serve as a classroom as well. So you're getting 4 additional classrooms, 2 additional collaboration areas, which can be used as classrooms, and a multi-purpose space, which can also be used as a classroom if you choose to do so, and an office space. And so the next steps is, if you heard the Board of Supervisors approved moving forward with the comprehensive agreement last night at their meeting. And so we're coming to you tonight to ask for the school board's approval to move forward with that contract as well. I believe you have been sent a copy of that. And the idea is if you approve it tonight, we're going to execute it tonight or tomorrow, and we're going to get moving. And like I said, construction would start as soon as they get a permit, which they've already applied for. The hope is that they'll get started in early April. And so that site will continue to change, and they're going to have that project done by next spring so that we can move furniture in and occupy those additional spaces next fall. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just looking at that layout, I guess the correct terminology would be then we're not necessarily adding a new wing, it would be adding spaces in different areas.
Yeah,
So
we've
to
always
speak.
called it a wing because there's a classroom wing on the building, so, but, yeah.
There'd be 2 different places where you're building on, though,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, we were actually able to, we started off with just the classrooms on the wing side, I guess, but we identified that we think, through the design process, hey, we can get more space, and so we added that multi-purpose room.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any other questions for Mr. Ellsworth?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to say that working with Mr. Barton and Mr. Sturgill on the Board of Supervisors has been a good, positive, collaborative effort, and we really appreciate their help and their cooperation. And the other thing, and we say this all the time, is having Mr. Ellswick and Tim on our side. I remember hearing it said a long time ago, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. And having them translate to us what we're buying and what's going on actually on the ground is invaluable, and I feel like we're very blessed.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve the comprehensive agreement? So moved.
I'm get one song, baby.
I second.
Would you like to read the motion?
You want to read
I
it?
think the motion is fine. We've got a motion on the floor to approve. If we're approving the comprehensive agreement as presented, and that's all we needed.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Our next agenda item is the presentation of the opening of the new elementary school with the transition of Irvington Elementary School. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members, and you have copies of all of these PowerPoint presentations with you, including the one that I am going to begin with. Before I do so, I'd like to thank Mr. Ellswick for his picture on his presentation. It's beautiful of Ridgeview, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Mr. Chair, and if the board does not mind, I will sit here unless the board wants me there. I'll have to go all the way around. I can do whichever is most comfortable for the board. Mr. Chair, is there a preference?
I think it's fine there unless somebody else has a preference.
Thank you. You have the PowerPoint presentation before you, and just to give a little bit of background, in January, we were made aware by Mr. Randy Jones that we had 28 classrooms available beginning in August of 2022. And with that information, then we started looking at what the potential enrollment could be at the new elementary school. Let me say first that all the things that we're going to talk about today, specifically with enrollment, student-teacher ratios, all of that are just projected. They're just projected numbers, but we have to begin the planning process. These numbers will change. They will fluctuate. This is a fluid situation. This is what we know today on March the 23rd, but a week from now, it may be a different picture. So if we come back and we are talking about perhaps other numbers or increased numbers or anything that way, please note that all of this is just projected, but we have to begin the process. The first slide, and it's not easy to see on yours, and I apologize. It's difficult to get this here, but it just shows, again, visually, the enrollment graph for the Dickson County Public Schools. In 1977, we had 4,400 students. We are now 1,081 students. And so as you see what our enrollment has done since that time, and just the steady decline of our students, and that has been something that our board has been very aware of in trying to be as efficient as we could be with the funds that we have available. The points for consideration for tonight's meeting will be the timeline for the opening of the new elementary school, information regarding the new elementary school, in looking at whether and how Irvington can transition into this school. We looked at the operating cost for Irvington Elementary School. We also looked at the OWPR facilities report for Irvington, which identified areas of remodeling, of things that needed to be repaired. And then we looked at what would it look like? What if Irvington did transition into the new elementary school? What would be the projected student enrollment? What would be the projected teacher ratio for grade levels? We are also going to address staffing and teacher shortages, which is very important. We're also going to touch upon a proposed process to enroll students in the new elementary school. I'm sure you have received questions on this issue. We have received questions on this issue. So how do we provide something that's equitable and something that is fair? We're also going to look at discussion of bus transportation, and then certainly take questions from the board and comments as we go through. If you have any questions on any slide, please stop me there. That will be fine. The proposed timeline for the opening of the new elementary school is one that you have seen for probably now 2 or 3 months. We've only revised some of the months just to, again, so it does reflect where we are as far as the timeline. But as we go through, we will check off each of these points, and until we get to the ribbon cutting ceremony the week of August 15th through the 19th, one of those dates. The new elementary school, which is the next slide, we'll have a plaque that will say to the children in Dickson County. And the dedication plaque is the same plaque that we used at Ridgeview High School and then also Ridgeview Middle School. The new elementary school will have pre-K through 5th grade. I know that you've been asked what possible name, and so again, just as a proposal, we're looking at a proposed name of Ridgeview Elementary School. The proposed mascot would be the wolf pack, and the proposed color would be Ridgeview blue or electric blue, gray, and black, as the other 2 schools on this campus. The classrooms that will be available for 2022 and through 2023 will be pre-K through 5, 28 classrooms. The estimated enrollment at this time, and again, this is only projected, is 511. And the way that we reached that number was that we took the number of students that were virtual from those 2 schools and the number of students that were homeschooled that are new to homeschool this year from those 2 schools, and we added that 36 students to the current enrollment. So that's how we reached the 511. We wanted to make certain that we included all students in that attend Irvington Elementary School and Sand Lake in the total enrollment. Currently, the Sand Lake enrollment is 349 in pre-K through 5, and the current enrollment at Irvington Elementary School is 126 pre-K through 5. I've been asked this question, how much square footage, and it's 69,000 square feet with just the current building that will open up in 2023. I'm sorry, in 2022. It will be an additional square footage when we open the wing or the additional classrooms in 2023. On the next page, we talk about the instructional programs at the new elementary school. Of course, it will be pre-K through 5th grade. We will have special education transition programs for 3- and 4-year-olds. We'll have self-contained programs with students with autism, intellectual disabilities, and multiple disabilities. Inclusion programs to support learning in the general education classrooms. We'll have pre-K classrooms for 4-year-olds, Title I programs for reading and math development, intervention program for struggling learners, gifted and talented program for exceptional learners, art, music, and age-appropriate playgrounds. Basically, the new elementary school will mirror what programs we offer in our elementary schools now, but only in a newer environment. Let's look at the projected operational costs for Irvington Elementary School. This is projected for FY22. The total cost of operating Irvington Elementary School, the projected cost is $1,621,891 and we broke this down for you. Instructional is $1.1 million. Utilities is $54,336. Food is $56,155, and then other is $344,057, and that includes materials and supplies, custodial and janitorial staff, and transportation. When we look at that figure and look also then at the operational costs at the other 2 schools, you see that there is a cost per child at Irvington Elementary School of $14,330. Cost per child at Sand Lake is $11,216, and then cost per child at Clintwood Elementary is $11,328. Our next slide is from the OWPR Elementary School Facilities Condition Assessment Report. And in February, some of you may recall that in February 2018, the Dickson County Board of Supervisors conducted a facilities assessment agreement for Clintwood Elementary School and Irvington Elementary School with the idea of what it would require to bring those 2 schools up to where they would need to be to remain open from that point on. The report was presented to joint school board meeting, IDA meeting, and board of supervisors meeting, and it included these 5 areas: civil and site, mechanical, which includes HVAC, plumbing, which is including plumbing system and septic system, the electrical, the main gear replacement, interior and exterior lighting replacement, etc. And all of these areas included other, many more other items, but we just try to shorten it for this meeting, and I can certainly share that report again with you. And then the last one was architectural replacement, and that's of windows, ADA and restroom renovations, tile, ceiling replacement, refurbishing the elevator, replacing roof, etc. In 2018, the estimated OWPR costs for repairing and replacement within the next 15 years was $6.6 million. We went to Mr. Ellswick this week and asked him that based on 2022 construction escalation, what might that cost be, and he estimated that it would be $7.8 million. On the next slide, we took the projected student enrollment, combining Sand Lake, Irvington, and the virtual and homeschool students, and then what would that look like per grade level? So we know that we have a total of 511, but what would that look like per grade level? As you see, at this time in pre-K, we have 34 students. Kindergarten, we have 52 students. First grade, we have 98 students. Second grade, we have 75 students. Third grade, 77 students. Fourth grade, 89 students. Fifth grade, 86 students, for a total of 511 students. We went further and looked at the projected student-teacher ratio for pre-K through 5. In pre-K with 34 students, we are projecting 3 teachers, and it will have and I will share with you why in just a few moments, but that would be, student-teacher ratio would be 1 to 11. In kindergarten with 52 students, we're projecting 4 teachers. The student-teacher ratio would be 1 to 13. In first grade, 98 students we're projecting, and for that we're projecting 5 teachers, 1 to 18. In second grade, 75, 4 teachers, 1 to 18. In third grade, 77 teachers, 4 teachers, again 1 through 18. In fourth grade, we have 89 students projected, 4 teachers, 1 to 22. And in fifth grade, 86 students, 4 teachers, 1 to 21. Again, a total of 511 students, and if you see, we do plan to use all 28 classrooms for the 2022-2023 school year. Now, a couple of points, and Mr. Wallace, if you can go back to that last slide, thank you. You notice that those numbers in pre-K and kindergarten are a bit lower. Pre-K and kindergarten registration goes on through the summer. So we have families that wait or move in or all of those things. So that is why we're projecting those right now. The other point of this is funding. Dixon County Public Schools receives $445,000 approximately for K-3 state funding, primary class reduction. In kindergarten through third grade, those numbers in each class must remain 1 to 18. 1 to 21. We now currently have 1 to 18 projected, but we can't have a class that might have everyone else may be 1 in 18, and then we have 1 in 22. in one classroom. We have to maintain that 1 to 21 as much as possible. If we can't maintain that, then we either have to find another classroom, another teacher, or, risk losing the funding, which we don't want to do. So you see in kindergarten through third grade with the projected, especially first, second, and third grade, with the projected enrollment, we have a little bit of wiggle room there. In fourth and fifth grade, we are not under that same requirement, but again, fourth and fifth grade, probably 24 to 25 would be a number that we would look at as a maximum, and we'll share with you why in just a few moments. But let me stop there and see if there's any questions or something that wasn't as clear. On the next page, I know that you may have received questions about staffing and staffing shortages. And at this, we are planning to, for all Sandlick and Irvington Elementary faculty and staff to transition to the new elementary school. So if I may, I will say that again so that everyone hopefully will, this will ease any anxiety. All Sandlick Elementary and Irvington Elementary faculty and staff for each school will transition to the new elementary school. If there are vacancies due to retirements and resignations, we hope that we can use perhaps 1 or 2 of our staff members, but all staff members and faculties from these 2 schools, we are planning to transition to the new elementary school. We anticipate that this process will help us to address the significant teacher shortage facing school divisions nationwide. So just wanted to make certain that we do have that recommendation out in public. On the next page is the page that goes probably with our student-teacher ratio, but we have receiving many questions about, how can my child go to the new elementary school? That's a very good question, and for very good reasons. Their other children may go to Ridgeview High School, Ridgeview Middle School. It would be so much easier if all 3 of them would go on the same campus. A lot of convenience for parents. For this year, and please note, for 2022, 2023, what we are proposing is a 4-phase option to enroll new students. The first phase would be the planning phase. And as we plan for the new elementary school, this has been based on the current enrollment at Sandlick, the current enrollment at Irvington, in addition to the 36 virtual and homeschool students. So students who currently attend Sandlick Elementary School and Irvington Elementary School will transition into the new elementary school. Phase 2, something that we are going to have to be mindful of, is that we know that if any student moves into the Sandlick or Irvington attendance area during the school year, they will attend the new elementary school. So as we look at classroom ratios and student-teacher ratios, that is one thing that we're going to have to be very mindful of. Phase 3, students living in the Sandlick and Irvington Elementary attendance area, but are attending Clintwood Elementary School, will complete a form requesting attendance at the new elementary school. These students will be enrolled when based on the available openings at each grade level. They may be placed on a waiting list before they can come into the new elementary school this year. But again, looking at all of the other factors, we will, of course, take those students in consideration that live in the Sand Lake Elementary attendance area but do attend Clintwood Elementary School. For the students who live in the Clintwood Elementary attendance area and are requesting attendance at the new elementary school, we will ask them to complete an out-of-district form. And they will, which we currently have for any child who lives in one community and wants to attend school in another community elementary school. And the enrollment, again, will be based on available fund openings at each grade level. These students more than likely will have to be placed on a waiting list, just for the sake of, just knowing what our enrollment actually is when school begins. On the next page, discussion of bus transportation. Mr. Mooney is reviewing the current bus routes in the Sand Lake and Irvington area communities and recommending changes and revisions for bus routes. Considerations as we look at bus travel time, we want to have appropriate bus travel time for these students. We want to be efficient. The estimated bus time, route times, we want it to be approximately 60 minutes. And if bus travel time can be kept at approximately 60 minutes, some bus routes may be absorbed. But again, I want to say that if we have a bus route that will be absorbed, then we will use that bus driver to substitute other bus drivers that must be out or are ill. As you know, this year, with as much illness as we've had, we constantly are facing buses that are coming in later, getting home later, and we want to try to address that issue by perhaps having a pool of bus drivers that's what they would do. They would be paid the same, but what they would do would be to substitute. And then we want to look at effectiveness. Instead of having 2 or 3 buses traveling the same direction or in the same area, could we look at having one and just for effectiveness? This will be a work in progress during the summer and at the beginning of the school. It is each year. But with the opening of a new school and then with a possibility of moving Sand Lake and Irvington, it will take us some time to just kind of work through all of those things that have to be revised. And Mr. Chair and board members, the last slide is just questions and from board members or comments. Again, let me say that all of that you have seen today is only proposed. It is projected numbers that will change, and it will be a very fluid situation, and we will keep the board members informed as we see those changes in enrollment or other projections. Mr. Chair, questions or comments from the board?
Well, I'll just say thank you for all the work it looks like you guys have put into this.
I want to thank my staff. They've done an excellent job, so thank you.
And I guess we have to be particularly mindful of those numbers because of we can't afford to lose that funding. And more than just about funding, I mean, keeping those numbers, there's a reason why the state sets those numbers why they are, because it seems to be more effective for students and best for students. So, that's definitely another reason why we have to be very mindful of those numbers in each class.
And if I may add, Mr. Hicks, we have to be mindful of those numbers now.
Right.
This is not anything new. We have to be, in each of our elementary schools, they have different student-teacher ratios based on their population. So we have to be very mindful of those numbers now. This is not a novel thing. This is something that we have faced.
Any other questions from the board?
I have a motion, Mr. Chair. I move that we authorize the superintendent to continue developing this information. We schedule a public hearing for April for the purpose of considering public input regarding this issue. At the conclusion of that public hearing, make a decision about integrating Sand Lick and Irvington into the new Ridgeview Elementary.
Second.
Before we vote, would we like to
Discuss the
maybe
date.
set a date?
The proposal was someday between the 18th and the 21st. I don't have a preference.
I don't either, so if anybody else has a schedule conflict or anything.
The 18th is the, may I add that we do it on the 22nd, Mr.? The 18th and the 21st is part of Easter break, am I correct, sir? Okay, thank you.
18th through the 22nd.
Okay.
Has to be the one.
The 18th is a Monday, and we're off that day, so it'll be the 19th through the 22nd.
Well, the Wednesday would be the 20th then, or 21st?
To the 20th?
20th?
It'll be that Wednesday.
What day of the week's it on?
That's a Wednesday.
Well, we do everything else on a Wednesday. I expect that's, well, or most everything.
Okay. So can we just revise that motion to make that, the date to be the 20th? Just nail that down.
Yes, I'll add to the motion that April 20th be the date.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Should we revisit that first motion?
Okay, our next agenda item is the approval of the estimated 2022-2023 budget. Ms. Taylor?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I just want to start with an update on the status of the state budget. We still do not have a state budget. As we had mentioned previously, the General Assembly adjourned on Saturday, the March the 12th, without passing a budget. At this time, they are currently still remotely negotiating, and our understanding is that once an agreement has been reached, the governor will recall them for a special session to adopt a budget, but we do not have a time frame on when that will occur. The school board, of course, has followed all the legal requirements in regards to development of the budget by scheduling the budget workshop and the public hearing, which we held in March. This proposed budget, of course, will be submitted to Dickinson County, Mr. Barton, the county administrator, by the deadline of Friday, April the 1st, 2022. We will be meeting with the Board of Supervisors at their budget workshop on Monday, March 28th at 9:30 a.m. At this time, we would like to request that you approve the proposed budget. It is the same version, same draft that was presented at both the budget workshop and the budget hearing. We have made no changes as no other information has been received. So we would request that you approve the proposed budget with the understanding that we will be returning to you later once the state budget is adopted, and we will be requesting a budget amendment at that time.
Any questions for Ms. Taylor? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the budget? So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next, we'll look at the approval of the 2022-23 school calendar.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening. We touched on the 22-23 school calendar last board meeting, and I think in your packet there is a blue copy of the draft that we would ask for approval on tonight. With the new elementary school and the construction, it was mentioned last month that we would need to start a little bit later than what we normally do. So with that said, we are proposing that the first day for students for the 22-23 school year would be Monday, August the 22nd. I'll just remind the board that normally our primary goal when we develop the calendar, and you've heard me say this before in years past, is that we try to schedule 90 days prior to the Christmas break in order to end the first semester at Christmas. Our high school students take SOL assessments at the end of that semester. Those are graduation requirements. We try to give them every opportunity possible to do as good as possible, not have a break, come back and take those tests. We won't be able to do that this year, and we've had years before where we wasn't able to do that. But I remind the board, because probably this time next year, I'll be reminding you that again if we try to start school earlier. But with that said, let me briefly summarize the 22-23, the proposed 22-23 school calendar. Monday, August the 15th through Friday, August the 19th would be teacher work days, and that's 5 teacher work days. We normally do 3. We did 5 when we moved into Ridgeview Middle and Ridgeview High. And we think the 2 additional days will be beneficial in making the move and getting prepared and getting settled into the new school. Monday, August the 22nd, schools would open. That would be the first day for students. Monday, September 5th is Labor Day, and schools would be closed. Monday, October 24th is the end of the first 9 weeks grading period. Tuesday, November the 8th is Election Day. Schools will be closed. Wednesday, November 23rd through Friday, November 25th is Thanksgiving and fall break. Schools will be closed. That would be 3 days. Some years we do 5, but we would go down to 3 days for Thanksgiving and fall break next year. Friday, December the 16th would be the last day before Christmas break. Monday, December the 19th through Monday, January the 2nd would be Christmas break, and that would be 2 weeks. Monday, January the 3rd, students would return from Christmas break. Monday, January the 16th would be the end of the first semester. We would have a teacher work day with schools closed for students on Tuesday, January the 17th, and Wednesday, January the 18th, we would begin the second semester. Friday, March the 10th, and Monday, March the 13th, we would schedule spring break. Thursday, March 23rd would be the end of the third 9 weeks grading period. Friday, April 7th, and Monday, April the 10th would be Easter break. Continuing along what we've done for several years of a long weekend for both spring break and Easter break. The last day for school would be Tuesday, May the 30th. That would be day 180. Basically, we're starting 2 weeks later, and we're scheduled to get out 2 weeks later. Any days that we would miss for snow next year could possibly put us into June. Hopefully next year will be like this year. We have very few days that we need to worry about adding to the calendar to make up any days. Again, our information is that we will continue. The state will allow us to continue the use of the 10 virtual days for this coming year, and that will be a huge help. So I know we try to get out at least early June. This year we're getting out May 20th, and I think that'll probably help too with the construction, with summer school plans and those kind of things. But that will be our proposal. Basically, schools would open for students Monday, August 22nd, and then the last day scheduled would be Tuesday, May the 30th for next year. I'll try to answer any questions if you may have them.
No? If there are no questions, do I hear a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So the next agenda item is the approval of the proposed VSBA policies.
Mr. Hicks, Mr. Chair, and board members all do that for Ms. Martin. On Tuesday, March the 15th, we sent you 6 policies that needed to only have cross-reference updated or policy was updated. They are listed for you. BB, school board legal status. BBA, board member authority. BCB, school board officers. BCC, school board clerk. BCE, school board committees. BDB, school board, special school board meetings. Again, these were very minor changes, only cross-reference updated, word change, did not change the policy. And we are recommending the approval of these proposed VSBA policy changes.
I move we approve these policies.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, so this concludes our open session, and now it's time for board comment. Mr. Mullins, you want to start?
Sure, I'd like to thank all the staff and the superintendent for all the work that you guys have done. You've done a wonderful job. And I think it's a really exciting time to be able to get Sand Lick and Irvington elementary schools here and see how the progress continues. I think that's another real blessing. So thank you.
I agree, we're entering an exciting time and an important time, probably only secondary to the building of Ridgeview High School and Middle School as an important date or movement or time in education of Dickinson County. I believe we will enjoy this as much as we did the other. And I hope things go smoothly.
Very good. I agree. It's a very exciting time. We can overlook this and just forget how blessed we are, that we're able to do these things, and it's not going to cost taxpayers of Dixon County. It's not going to, and we can do this without losing any staff. And I think that's will definitely pay some dividends down the road for us. Just to say something about, it's really upsetting to see what some of these students have gone through and the bullying and those kind of things. And I know that's an issue that nobody takes very lightly. I don't think teachers take that very lightly, nor administrators. However, it's a definite problem. And so hopefully, and I don't remember what month it is, maybe it's past or maybe it's coming up, but there's an anti-bullying month here somewhere along the lines here. And if it's passed, then maybe we could even, go back and visit those things and just be a little bit more diligent about it. And then I would, also encourage each and every parent to, have a discussion with your child about bullying. Whether they're being bullied or maybe they just, think they're playing in some way and that may be hurting somebody else.
Well, I would certainly concur with that. I'd like to just say that we're grateful for all the good work. Whoever recommended Curtis and Tim, I certainly would like to thank them for being in this county and given the expertise and good work that they have done. I hope that everyone in Dickinson County realizes what we will have here in just a couple more years. The campus is probably as pretty as one I've ever seen anywhere in my travels through my lifetime, and it's certainly a blessing that Dixon County has, what it has to serve. I hope the day comes someday that all children in Dixon County are able to access the very best of everything that Dixon County has to offer. I know that day is a while away. We have been very blessed in other ways. This COVID report for the last 3 or 4 days, I think, has been 0.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's just outstanding, and I certainly hope that remains. We've lost so many people here and had so many people, so many families affected. And we just need to do some common sense things, I think, and continue to do those things. I'm glad to see the masks are gone. I think that the last thing the superintendent said was that the Department of Labor had changed their rules. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They
So-
changed it on Monday, and it went into effect today. So teachers had the option and staff of not wearing a mask today.
I'd also like to say to those who do not know, school boards usually don't have that authority to make. Usually it's somebody further up the line of the state. And you work through health departments, and especially with your local people. And those people that came here and spoke certainly did an excellent job in conveying their concerns. And that transition happened shortly after that. And 4 days without any cases at all, that seems like a miracle. I certainly commend everybody, every employee and every administrator, and every bus driver, everybody in all sectors for a job well done. Thank you.
Well, I'll echo the sentiments of my colleagues here, and very thankful for the work that Tim and Curtis have done. Excellent work. Very appreciative, and also thankful for the work that Ms. Robinson is doing on this project, along with the administrative staff. And I'll point out a special thanks again tonight for the work that's been done on our budget. I think we're in a very good place right now, and I'm thankful have our schedule in place. I know it's, I get a lot of questions about the school schedule, and this one this year is very popular with families that were coming up for next school year. So, I think some of the thoughts there are, a little more time in August, a little longer summer is good for families. I think a lot of people think, it's kind of good to come back after a little break and do the SOLs there, but there's a lot of discussion on what's best for that. I'm just hopeful for as spring is finally, I guess spring is sprung, hopefully. I don't know if the weather is going to hold up for that, but I think we approved some field trips tonight. Hopefully some more of that to come as we transition back into normalcy there. And it's very important that we are doing things that are educationally beneficial, but also things that the kids enjoy can enhance our education. And it's good to see those things start happening again. So, like I said, appreciate everybody, and it's a good meeting.
Mr. Burge, I meant to say you can up, now that we've voted on a calendar, August the 15th and the 22nd to start. You can put a little more on them, I guess. All right. Very good. Very good. All right, at this time, we'll go into closed session. Closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711, Paragraph A of the Code of Virginia. There will be a closed session for the purpose of, 1, employment issues relating to discussion or consideration of specific individuals for employment as substitutes, FMLA requests, resignations, coaches, employee requests for additional sick leave, and discussion of COVID pay leave for employees pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. 2, to consult with legal counsel regarding the investment of public funds associated with school construction and consultation regarding actual or probable litigation, along with consultation regarding specific matters requiring legal advice pursuant to Virginia's Code Section 2.2-3711A6, 7, and 8 of the Code of Virginia. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now out of closed session. Ms. Robinson, will you please read the certification for us?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Dickinson County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only the business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and 2, only such business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Please certify.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
Certify.
Are there any motions from closed session?
I have a motion. I move that the board direct the superintendent to set protocols to extend COVID benefits through March the 31st.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I move that the board approve employment recommendations as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Is there any other business to discuss? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We got a third there. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.